We all know that cats and dogs are man's best friends. They have been with us for thousands of years and we couldn't imagine our lives without them. But what if one day they suddenly decided to switch places? What would happen then? Well, it might sound like a crazy idea, but let's take a closer look at this unusual situation. If cats and dogs could suddenly switch roles, many things would change in our world. The first thing that would happen is that the dog would become the new cat and start acting like one. This means that he would spend most of his time sleeping, eating and grooming himself. He might also start chasing laser pointers and climbing curtains. On the other hand, the cat would turn into a dog and would start barking, fetching and being much more active during the day. It would be quite a strange sight to see a dog sleeping all day and a cat going for walks and playing fetch. The dog's instincts would kick in and he would start chasing squirrels and other animals. At the same time, the cat would feel the need to protect its territory and would start marking its presence with urine. Both animals would struggle to adapt to their new roles, but eventually they would get used to it. In this new reality, dogs would no longer be allowed inside houses and would have to live outside in the garden. They would be responsible for guarding the property and protecting the family from any danger. They would also be much more active and would go on long walks during the day, while the cats would spend most of their time indoors. They would lounge around the house, grooming themselves and getting all the attention from their owners. Dogs would become much more independent and would need less attention from their owners. They would be able to feed themselves and would not cry when left alone. In fact, they would probably enjoy their newfound freedom and independence. Cats, on the other hand, would require much more attention and care. They would need to be fed regularly and would not be able to entertain themselves. Their owners would have to play with them and give them plenty of love and affection. The doggie's role as a hunter would be put to good use as it would be able to catch mice and other pests that might be living in the house. At the same time, the cat's natural instincts would be suppressed and it would not be able to climb trees or chase birds. It would have to adapt to living indoors and would need to find other ways to entertain itself. It would be interesting to see how both species would react to their new roles. Dogs are known for their loyalty and obedience, so it wouldn't be hard for them to become indoor pets that stay by their owner's side at all times. However, cats are much more independent and stubborn, so it might be challenging for them to adapt to life outdoors. It would be even more interesting to see how the relationship between cats and dogs would change in this scenario. As we know, these two species can't stand each other, so it would be fascinating to see what would happen if they had to live together in the same house. The dog would probably continue to bark and try to assert dominance, while the cat would do its best to avoid the dog and find high places to hide. If you've ever seen a cat and dog playing together, you know that they can get along well, and they even seem to enjoy each other's company. So if they were to switch places, it's possible that they would learn to appreciate each other's strengths and become friends. After all, cats are great at catching mice and other pests, while dogs are excellent at guarding the home and protecting their family. They could work together to keep the house free of danger and also help each other to adapt to their new roles. Another interesting aspect to consider is the training that each animal would receive. Dogs are typically trained to obey commands such as sit, stay and come. They are also taught to perform certain tasks such as fetching or protecting. On the other hand, Cats are much more difficult to train as they are less obedient and more independent. They can be taught some basic commands, but they are not as easy to manage as dogs. So if cats and dogs were to switch places, dogs would need to learn new commands such as jump up on the sofa, knock things off the table and walk on the kitchen counters. They would also need to learn how to groom themselves and use a litter box. Meanwhile, cats would have to learn commands like come, sit and stay. They would also need to learn how to walk on a leash and not pull ahead of their owner. It would definitely be challenging for both animals to learn these new skills, but it would also be incredibly funny to watch. Imagine a big, strong dog trying to groom himself or a small cat pulling its owner down the street. It would be a complete role reversal and a hilarious sight to behold. In conclusion, if cats and dogs were to switch places, many things would change. The most obvious change would be their behavior. Dogs would become lazy and spend most of their time sleeping and eating, while the cats would become active hunters and start chasing squirrels and other animals. Their living arrangements would also change as dogs would have to live outside and cats would be allowed inside the house. It would be interesting to see how they would adapt to their new roles and how their relationship with each other and their owners would change. Would they learn to live together peacefully or would they continue to fight? Would they be able to perform their new tasks successfully or would they need some training? These are just some of the questions that pop up when imagining this bizarre scenario. One thing is for sure. It would be an adventure full of surprises. It would also be a great opportunity for these two species to learn from each other and appreciate each other's strengths. After all, cats are excellent hunters and dogs are loyal and obedient. They could learn from each other's skills and become better companions. Imagine a dog that could hunt and a cat that could guard its owner's property. They would be an unstoppable team. So maybe it is not such a bad idea after all to think about what would happen if cats and dogs switched places. It gives us a chance to appreciate their unique qualities and see how they could be useful in different situations. Who knows? Maybe it will even help us to understand them better and give them the care and attention they need to be happy and healthy. If you enjoyed this imaginative exploration of what would happen if cats and dogs switched places, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more entertaining and educational content. Your support helps us continue creating videos that bring joy and knowledge to people all over the world. Thank you for watching and we'll see you next time. Now check out another video from our channel and keep learning.